The cargo ship Stellar Wanderer moved slowly through the dark space near the dying red star. Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge, watching the star's weak light flicker across his ship's metal walls. His crew was small, but good. They had been trading supplies between the outer colonies for 3 years now, and they knew how to stay out of trouble. Dao-min, the ship's engineer, looked up from his control panel. His green scales caught the red light from the star. The Sarok were known for being careful, and Dao-min was more careful than most. "Captain, I'm getting a signal," Dao-min said. His voice was rough, like all Sarok voices. "It's weak, but it looks like a distress call." Hyunwoo moved to the communication station. The signal was very faint. It came from somewhere near the dying star in a place where no ship should be. "Can you make it stronger?" Hyunwoo asked. Bo-Ra floated over to help. She was Vithani, her body made of living crystal that glowed soft blue in the dark. Her people were the best at understanding technology. She touched the communications panel and her crystal fingers began to glow brighter. "There," she said. "It's clearer now. Someone is in trouble out there." The signal was coming from a small object drifting near the star. It looked like an escape pod, but it was badly damaged. Parts of it were melted from the star's heat. "We should leave," Dao-min said quickly. "This system is dangerous. The star could explode any time." Su-jin spoke from the navigation station. She was Nebula Folk, her body like moving gas held together by energy. Her voice sounded like wind. "The pod has life signs. Someone is alive. In there, but barely." Hyunwoo looked at his crew. They had rules about staying safe. The outer colonies were full of dangers. Pirates, slavers, and worse things hunted ships like theirs. But someone was dying out there. "We help," Hyunwoo said. "Prepare the rescue bay." Dao-min's scales changed color, showing he was worried. "Captain, what if this is a trap? What if pirates are waiting?" "Then we fight," Hyunwoo said simply. It took an hour to reach the escape pod and bring it inside their ship. The pod was hot from the star's radiation. When they opened it, they found something none of them expected. It was a human. Hyunwoo had heard of humans but never seen one. They looked strange. No scales, no crystal skin, no gas body. Just soft pink flesh and dark hair. This human was a male, unconscious and badly hurt. "I've never seen a human before," Bo-Ra whispered. Her crystal body pulsed with curiosity. "They're supposed to be extinct," Su-jin said. "Their home planet was destroyed months ago." The human was barely breathing. Burns covered his arms and his clothes were torn, but he was alive. "Take him to medical bay," Hyunwoo ordered. For 2 days, the human stayed unconscious. Bo-Ra worked hard to heal him. Human biology was different from anything she knew, but she learned quickly. The human's body was surprisingly strong. Where a Sarok would have died from such injuries, the human kept fighting to live. On the 3rd day, the human opened his eyes. "Where am I?" he asked. His voice was weak but clear. "You're safe," Hyunwoo told him. "We found you in an escape pod. I'm Captain Hyunwoo. What's your name?" The human tried to sit up, then fell back with pain. "Kijun," he said. "My name is Kijun. Thank you for saving me." "What happened to you?" Bo-Ra asked gently. Kijun's eyes filled with sadness. "The Velkari came. They destroyed everything." His voice broke. "Earth is gone. All the human colonies are gone. They killed billions of my people." The crew looked at each other. The Velkari? Empire was feared across the galaxy. They conquered worlds and enslaved entire species. But they had never attacked humans before. "How did you escape?" Hyunwoo asked. "I was on a supply ship when they attacked Earth," Kijun said. "We tried to fight, but their ships were too strong. I got to an escape pod just before my ship exploded. I've been drifting for weeks." Dao-min moved closer, his careful nature making him study the human. "Are there other survivors?" Kijun nodded slowly. "Some. The Velkari don't kill everyone. They take slaves. There are prison colonies where they force people to work. My sister, my friends, they might still be alive somewhere." Su-jin's gaseous form shimmered with anger. "Slavery is evil. No one should suffer that." The Velkari are too strong, Kijun said, tears in his eyes. I'm probably one of the last free humans in the galaxy. What can I do against an empire? Hyunwoo was quiet for a long moment. His crew waited for him to speak. Finally, he said, "You're not alone anymore." Kijun looked confused. "What do you mean?" "We helped you because it was right," Hyunwoo said. "Now we know your people are slaves. We can't ignore that." "But you barely know humans," Kijun said. "Why would you risk your lives for us?" Bo-Ra's crystal body glowed brighter. "Because slavery is wrong for any species. Because someone who fights to live like you do deserves freedom." Daomin nodded, his scales changing to show agreement. The Sarok believe all thinking beings should be free. Sujin flowed closer to Kijun's bed. "The Nebula folk remember when we were enslaved long ago. Others helped us. Now we help you." Kijun stared at them. "You want to fight the Velkari Empire? That's impossible. They have thousands of ships, millions of soldiers." "Maybe," Hyunwoo said, "but we have to try. First, we find other humans who think like us, species who hate slavery. Then we make a plan." "This is crazy," Kijun whispered. "Yes," Hyunwoo smiled. "But sometimes crazy is the only way to do what's right." Over the next few days, Kijun grew stronger. He told them about human colonies, about Velkari ships and weapons. The crew listened and planned. "There's a mining colony in the Keth system," Kijun said. 50,000 humans work there as slaves. The guards are cruel, but the defenses aren't too strong. "We rescue them," Hyunwoo decided. "With one ship?" Daomin asked. "We find more ships?" "More friends," Hyunwoo said. "Every species that hates the Velkari. Every captain who believes in freedom." Kijun looked at his new friends. These aliens who barely knew humans were willing to risk everything for people they had never met. It gave him hope for the first time since Earth died. "Where do we start?" Kijun asked. Hyunwoo smiled. "We start by making the Velkari angry. We start by showing the galaxy that someone is fighting back." The Stellar Wanderer changed course, heading toward the outer rim where other traitors and rebels hid. They had saved one human. Now they would try to save them all. 6 months had passed since they found Kijun floating near the dying star. The Stellar Wanderer was no longer just a cargo ship. Now it led a small fleet of 12 vessels, all hiding in the shadow of a broken moon. Captain Hyunwoo stood in the meeting room, looking at faces from 6 different species. Word had spread quietly through the outer colonies. Some people still believed in fighting for what was right. Kijun stood beside a holographic map showing 3 red dots in Velkari space. He looked healthier now, stronger. The burns had healed, but the anger in his eyes had grown brighter. "These are the human prison colonies we know about," Kijun said. "The closest is Keth 7, 50,000 humans mining crystals for the Velkari war machine." Dr. Bo-Ra studied the map with her glowing crystal eyes. Over the past months, she had become fascinated with human biology. "I've been studying the medical data from our rescued humans," she said. "There's something unusual about your species." "What do you mean?" asked Taiho. He was new to their group, a Kepri who had once worked for the Velkari but changed sides. His insect-like body clicked nervously when he spoke. "Human minds are different," Bo-Ra explained. "Most species think in patterns. Sarok think carefully. Vithani think logically, Nebula folk think in flows. But humans think in ways that change. They adapt their thinking to new problems." Kijun frowned. "I don't understand." "That's why the Velkari can't fully control humans," Bo-Ra continued. "Other slaves eventually stop fighting, accept their fate. But humans keep finding new ways to resist, even in small ways. The Velkari find this both useful and frustrating." Taiho's antennae twitched. "It's true. I saw reports when I worked for them. Human slaves caused more trouble than any other species. They would break tools in clever ways, organize secret meetings, even teach other slaves to resist." Sujin flowed around the table, her gaseous form shimmering with excitement. "Then humans are natural rebels?" Maybe, Ki-jun said quietly. Or maybe we just hate being told what to do. Daomin looked up from his technical readings. The careful, Zarok had been studying captured Velkari equipment. Their ships have a weakness. The shield generators overheat if hit with pulse weapons in the right sequence. That's why we need to move fast, Hyunwoo said. Hit the mining colony, rescue the humans, and run before their big ships arrive. The plan was dangerous. The mining colony had orbital defenses and hundreds of Velkari guards, but they had advantages too. 3 months ago, a group of Drakmari warriors had joined them. The proud warrior species brought 5 fast attack ships and a hunger for battle. Commander, Yunji of the Drakmari spoke in her harsh voice. My ships can draw their fighters away from the colony. Your rescue ships can land while they chase us. How many humans can we save at once? Hyunwoo asked. Ki-jun studied the numbers. Maybe 10,000 on the first run. We'd need to come back for the rest. No, said a new voice. They turned to see Do-hyun, an arms dealer from the consortium. He had been supplying them with weapons and information. One rescue, then they'll strengthen all the colonies. You get one chance. Then we take everyone, Hyunwoo decided. That's impossible, Taeho clicked nervously. 50,000 people. You don't have enough ships. We get more ships, Sujin said simply. For the next month they prepared. Do-hyun brought them transport vessels disguised as cargo ships. Other species joined quietly. A few here, a few there. Not armies, just people who hated what the Velkari did. The night before the rescue, Ki-jun couldn't sleep. He walked through the ship, checking on the new crew members. In the medical bay, he found Bo-ra working on something. What are you doing? He asked. Making medicine for your people, she said. Her crystal body pulsed with tired light. Humans who have been slaves for months will be sick, weak. This will help them heal faster. Ki-jun felt his throat tighten. Why do you care so much? About humans, I mean. Bo-ra stopped working and looked at him. On my world, we used to think we were the smartest species. We built great cities, made wonderful art. Then the Velkari came. They didn't enslave us, they just took our best ideas and left us alone. They said we weren't worth enslaving. That doesn't sound so bad, Ki-jun said. It was worse than slavery, Bo-ra said sadly. Slaves can dream of freedom. We just knew. We weren't important. But you humans, you make every species around you want to be better. That's worth fighting for. The rescue day came. 15 ships moved through hyperspace toward Keth 7. The mining colony floated above a red planet, ugly metal structures connected by tubes and cables. Velkari patrol ships incoming, Sujin reported. 3 of them. Drakmari ships, you're up, Hyunwoo said. Commander Yunji's warriors screamed their battle cries as they flew toward the patrol ships. The Velkari took the bait, chasing the fast Drakmari fighters away from the colony. Now, Hyunwoo ordered. The transport ships dove toward the mining station. Taeho's knowledge of Velkari systems helped them avoid the automated defenses. They landed in the worker areas where the humans lived. Ki-jun ran through the corridors with the rescue teams. What he saw made him angry enough to shake. Humans in dirty clothes, too thin, working with broken tools. Many looked sick. Children who had been born in slavery and never seen a real sky. We're here to rescue you, Ki-jun shouted. Everyone, to the landing bays. Some humans stared in disbelief. Others started crying. A few were too weak to walk and had to be carried. An older human man grabbed Ki-jun's arm. Are you really human? Free human? Yes, Ki-jun said, and soon you will be too. It took 3 hours to load all 50,000 humans onto the transport ships. The ships were crowded, but everyone fit. As they prepared to leave, Velkari reinforcements arrived. Big ships coming, Daomin warned. 3 heavy cruisers. Can we outrun them? Hyunwoo asked. Not with all these people, Sujin said. The transports are too slow. Commander Yunji's voice crackled over the radio. We'll hold them off. Get the humans to safety. You can't fight 3 cruisers, Hyunwoo protested. Drakmari do not run. From fights, Yunji said. Go! 2 of the Drakmari ships didn't make it, but 50,000 humans escaped to freedom. It was the first major victory against the Velkari Empire in over a century. In the weeks that followed, something amazing happened. The news spread across the galaxy. Someone was fighting back. Someone was winning. More ships joined them. More species offered help. The rescued humans proved that Bora was right. They adapted quickly, learning alien technology and finding new ways to use it. Ki-jun watched a group of human children playing with young Sarok and Vithani. For the first time since Earth died, he felt hope growing in his chest. What's next? Ki-jun asked Hyunwoo. The captain smiled. Next, we make the Velkari really angry. Next, we show the galaxy what happens when you enslave the wrong species. Their little rebellion was growing into something bigger, something that might actually have a chance of winning. 2 years had passed since the rescue at Keth 7. The small rebellion had grown into something the galaxy had never seen before, a multi-species alliance that actually worked. Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Freedom's Dawn, a captured Velkari battleship that the humans had rebuilt and improved. Around him, officers from 12 different species worked together like they had been doing it for centuries. Ki-jun walked onto the bridge carrying a datapad. He was no longer just a rescued refugee. Now he was intelligence director for the Free Species Alliance, as they called themselves. Report from our spies in Velkari space, Ki-jun said. They've found something big. Hyunwoo looked at the data. His eyes widened. A research station? Not just any research station, Ki-jun said grimly. The main one. They call it the Crucible. 2 million humans are held there, including children who were born in captivity. Dr. Bora floated over, her crystal body pulsing with worry. She had become the Alliance's chief medical officer and expert on human biology. What kind of research? Ki-jun's face was dark. The worst kind. They're trying to understand what makes humans different. They want to copy our adaptability and put it into other species. In the engineering section, Minho looked up from his work. The young human had become famous throughout the Alliance for his ability to combine human and alien technology in ways no one had imagined. His latest creation was a shield system that used human pattern thinking to adapt to different weapons. They want to steal what makes us human? Minho asked. Worse, said Jae-sung, walking over from the tactical station. The former Earth military commander had become the Alliance's strategic planner. They want to create a race of super soldiers with human minds and Velkari bodies. The bridge fell silent. Every species in the Alliance had joined because they hated slavery. But this was something even worse than slavery. How long before they succeed? Hyunwoo asked. Our spy thinks maybe 6 months, Ki-jun said. Maybe less. Commander Yunji of the Drakmari pounded her fist on her control panel. Then we attack now. With what? Asked Do-yeon, who had become the Alliance's supply coordinator. The Crucible is in the heart of Velkari space. It's protected by their home fleet. Soo-jin flowed over to the star map, her gaseous form creating patterns in the air. The humans are right about one thing, she said. If the Velkari succeed in copying human adaptability, they'll become unstoppable. Dr. Bora had been studying human rescued from other colonies. I've been watching how humans think, she said. It's not just adaptability. Humans have something else. They inspire others to be better than they thought possible. What do you mean? Dauman asked. The careful Sarok had become the Alliance's chief of security. Look around this bridge, Bora said. 6 months ago, most of our species barely trusted each other. Now we work together like we're all part of the same family. That's not normal for a galactic alliance. Taeho clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. The former Velkari collaborator had become their expert on enemy psychology. She's right. In all of galactic history, multi-species alliances fall apart quickly. Too much mistrust, too many different ways of thinking. But this one keeps growing, stronger. Because humans make it work, Soo-jin said. They have this gift for understanding what other species need and helping them get it. Hyunwoo studied the tactical display. The Crucible was heavily defended, surrounded by minefields and patrol fleets. Getting close would be almost impossible. Fighting their way in would cost thousands of lives. There might be another way, Minho said quietly. Everyone turned to look at the young engineer. What if we don't fight our way to the Crucible? What if we make the Crucible come to us? How? Jae-sung asked. Minho pointed to the star map. The Velkari are proud. They think they're the strongest military in the galaxy. What if we challenge that pride? Over the next week, Minho's crazy plan took shape. The Alliance would attack a Velkari supply depot that was heavily defended but not too important. When the Velkari sent ships to defend it, the Alliance would retreat, but slowly making it look like they were barely escaping. The Velkari would follow, thinking they could destroy the entire rebel fleet. They would bring big ships, including some from the Crucible's defense force. Then the Alliance would lead them into a trap. It's insane, Do-yeon said. You're gambling everything on the Velkari being predictable. Humans are good at reading other species, Ki-jun said. Tai-ho knows how Velkari commanders think. This could work. The plan required perfect timing and a lot of luck. Every ship in the Alliance would be involved. Over 200 vessels from 15 different species. 3 days before the operation, Hyunwoo called a meeting of all the Alliance leaders. The room was full of beings who had once been strangers, even enemies. Now they were family. This is our biggest risk yet, Hyunwoo said. If we fail, the Alliance ends. The Velkari will hunt down every survivor. And if we succeed? Commander Yoonji asked. If we succeed, we save 2 million humans and deal a blow to the Velkari that they might never recover from, Jae-sung said. Dr. Bora glowed brighter. There's something else. I've been studying the data from our spy. The Velkari aren't just experimenting on humans. They're doing the same thing to other species they've captured. If we stop them, we save everyone. One by one, each species leader voted. The Saurok voted yes for the sake of justice. The Vethani voted yes for the sake of knowledge. The Nebula folk voted yes for the sake of freedom. The Drakmari voted yes for the sake of honor. When the vote was finished, the decision was unanimous. They would attack the Crucible. One more thing, Ki-jun said. Our spy managed to get a message out from inside the research station. The human prisoners know we're coming. They're ready to help from the inside. How? Sujin asked. Ki-jun smiled for the first time in weeks. The same way humans always help. They've been quietly breaking things, slowing down the research and teaching other prisoners how to resist. The Velkari think they're studying human adaptability, but they're actually creating the perfect rebellion. Minho laughed. So while they're trying to copy us, we're already changing them? Something like that, Ki-jun said. Turns out that human adaptability is contagious. The other prisoner species have started thinking like humans. They're all working together now. Commander Yoonji stood up, her warrior's pride shining in her eyes. Then we fight not just for humans, but for everyone the Velkari have enslaved. For everyone who believes in freedom, Hyunwoo agreed. The Alliance fleet began moving toward Velkari space. Behind them, other species watched and waited. Some would join the fight if the Alliance looked like it might win. Others would help hide, survivors if they lost. But for the first time in centuries, the galaxy had hope. The Velkari Empire, which had seemed unbeatable for so long, was about to face something it had never encountered before. The power of different species working together as equals. As the ships jumped into hyperspace, heading toward the biggest battle in galactic history, one thought echoed through every mind on every vessel. They had saved one human and now they were going to save them all. The Velkari took the bait perfectly. Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo watched from the Freedom's dawn as enemy ships chased his retreating fleet through the Koro system. The Velkari commanders thought they were pursuing a beaten enemy. They had no idea. They were flying into the largest trap in galactic history. Velkari fleet count? Hyunwoo asked. 47 heavy ships, reported Dauman from his tactical station, including 6 from the Crucible Defense Force. Ki-jun monitored the communications. They're confident, Admiral. Their commanders are already arguing about who gets credit for destroying us. Perfect, Hyunwoo said. Sujin, how long until we reach the ambush point? The Nebula Folk Navigator flowed over her controls. 18 minutes, the rest of our fleet is in position. This was the moment everything depended on. Hidden behind 3 moons, the rest of the Alliance fleet waited. Over 150 ships from 16 species, all working together for one goal. Minho looked up from his engineering station. Admiral, I'm reading some strange signals from the Velkari fleet. They're not standard military communications. Dr. Bora studied the data, her crystal body pulsing with worry. Those are research transmissions. They're sending data to the Crucible even during the chase. What kind of data? Jae-sung asked. Battle information, Bora realized. They're studying how we fight, how our different species work together. Even this chase is an experiment to them. Kijun felt anger burn in his chest. They turn everything into a way to hurt people. Not today, Commander Unji growled from her ship. Today we show them what happens when they experiment with the wrong species. The Alliance fleet dropped out of hyperspace right on schedule. Suddenly, the pursuing Velkari found themselves surrounded. Ships appeared from behind moons, from asteroid fields, from the shadow of the gas giant. All ships attack, Hyunwoo commanded. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Usually, multi-species fleets fell apart in combat because different species had different fighting styles. But the Alliance had trained together for 2 years. They fought like a single organism with many parts. Drakmari fighters screamed through space, drawing Velkari fire. Saurak bombers moved carefully but deadly, hitting exactly the right targets. Vathani ships used their crystal technology to create shields for damaged allies. Nebula folk vessels flowed like living things, impossible to target effectively. And the humans tied it all together, coordinating the different fighting styles into something greater than the sum of its parts. Velkari are trying to retreat, reported Taeho from his intelligence station. Don't let them, Jae-sung ordered. If even one ship escapes with battle data, they'll know how we fight. The battle raged for 3 hours. The Alliance lost 12 ships, but the Velkari lost 31. More importantly, they captured 2 enemy vessels and the crew who might have information about the Crucible. Phase 1 complete, Hyunwoo announced to the fleet. All ships prepare for the real fight. The captured Velkari officers were brought aboard the Freedom's Dawn. Kijun studied them through the cell's energy field. They looked like tall, gray-skinned humans, but their eyes were cold and empty. Why do you experiment on other species? Kijun asked them. The lead Velkari officer stared at him with disgust. Because you are inferior. We improve you by studying you. By torturing children? By understanding how your chaotic minds work, the Velkari said. Your species should be grateful. We will use what we learn to make better servants. Dr. Bora entered the cell area, her crystal body glowing with controlled anger. I've studied your biology too, she told the Velkari. Want to know what I found? The Velkari officer said nothing. Your species used to be different, Bora continued. Thousands of years ago you were more like humans, adaptable, creative, emotional. But you changed yourselves, made yourselves perfect. You removed the very things that made you alive. We evolved beyond primitive emotions, the Velkari said. Proudly. You didn't evolve, Kijun realized. You lobotomized yourselves. That's why you need to study other species. Because you cut out the parts of your minds that could grow and change. The Velkari officer's face showed the first emotion. They had seen fear. Meanwhile, the Alliance fleet moved toward the Crucible. Intelligence reports said the research station was the size of a small moon, heavily defended, and filled with the most advanced Velkari technology. It's not going to be like the supply depot, Jae-sung warned during the battle briefing. The Crucible has weapons that can destroy entire fleets, but it also has 2 million prisoners, Kijun added. We can't just blow it up. Minho had been working on the problem for weeks. I think I have an answer, he said, pulling up technical diagrams. The Crucible's power system has a weakness. If we can get a team inside, we can overload it. The station won't explode, but all the defenses will shut down. How do we get inside? Commander Yunji asked. The same way they've been bringing in supplies, Minho said. We capture a supply convoy, take their place, and fly right up to the docking bay. Sujin flowed around the holographic station display. Once the defenses are down, our ships can dock and start evacuating prisoners. What about the Velkari home fleet? Dao Min asked. That's where it gets interesting, Jae Sung said with a grim smile. According to our spy, the Velkari are planning to test their new super soldiers in 3 days. They're bringing important commanders from across the Empire to watch. Including the Supreme Commander? Hyunwoo asked. Including him, Kijun confirmed. If we time this right, we can rescue the prisoners and capture most of the Velkari leadership at the same time. It was an insane plan with 1,000 ways it could go wrong. But it was also their best chance to end the war in one decisive battle. The night before the attack, Kijun couldn't sleep. He walked through the ship, checking on the crews. In the medical bay, he found Dr. Bora preparing supplies for the rescued prisoners. Are you ready for tomorrow? Bora asked. I think so, Kijun said. It's strange. 2 years ago, I was alone in a broken escape pod, thinking I was the last free human in the galaxy. Now you're leading the largest rescue mission in history, Bora said. Not just me, all of us together. Kijun looked out at the stars. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if Captain Hyunwoo had decided not to rescue me. Bora's crystal body pulsed with warmth. But he did rescue you, and you inspired him to rescue others. That's the human gift. You make people want to be better than they are. The next morning, the Alliance fleet approached the Crucible. The massive research station hung in space like a metallic disease, surrounded by the gleaming ships of the Velkari home fleet. Supply convoy approaching on schedule, Sujin reported. All ships prepare for battle, Hyunwoo commanded. Today we end this war. As the disguised Alliance ships moved toward the docking bays, Kijun thought about all the humans trapped inside. The station. Children who had never seen a real sky. Adults who had forgotten what freedom felt like. Scientists forced to work on their own people's destruction. But also, he thought about the Alliance fleet behind them. Dozens of species working together, risking everything for people they had never met. The Velkari had tried to break the spirit of every species they conquered. Instead, they had created something beautiful, a galaxy where different people could become family. Docking in 60 seconds, Sujin announced. Kijun checked his weapon and looked around at his mixed-species boarding team. Ready to save some people? They all answered at once in a dozen different languages, but the meaning was the same. Ready. The battle for the Crucible was about to begin. Kijun had never seen anything as horrible as the inside of the Crucible. The boarding team moved through corridors lined with cells. Thousands of them. Each one held beings from different species, humans, but also others the Velkari had captured for their experiments. The prisoners were thin and scared, but when they saw Kijun's mixed-species rescue team, hope filled their eyes. We're here to get you out, Kijun announced through the corridor speakers. Stay calm. We're going to open all the cells. Minho worked at a computer terminal, his fingers flying over the alien controls. I can override the cell locks, but the main power system is deeper in the station. Bora, start getting the prisoners ready to evacuate, Kijun ordered. Tai-Ho, find us a path to the power core. As they moved deeper into the station, they found something that made Kijun's blood run cold. Laboratory rooms filled with medical equipment. Computer screens showing brain scans and genetic modifications. The Velkari weren't just studying other species, they were trying to remake them. Look at this, Dr. Bora said, her crystal body pulsing with horror. She was reading a research file. They've been trying to transfer consciousness between species, taking human minds and putting them in Velkari bodies. Did it work? Kijun asked, afraid of the answer. Some of the experiments succeeded, Bora said quietly. But the results were wrong. The transferred minds went insane. They found the test subjects in a special section of the laboratory. Velkari bodies with human minds, sitting in cells and staring at nothing. When Kijun tried to talk to them, they just repeated the same phrases over and over. "We have to help them," Kijun said. "We can't," Bora said sadly. "The process can't be reversed. But we can make sure this never happens to anyone else." The power core was at the center of the station. It was a massive room filled with energy conduits and control systems. Minho studied the setup and smiled grimly. "This is actually simpler than I thought," he said. "If I overload the quantum stabilizers, the whole system will shut down safely. The station won't explode, but nothing will work." "How long do you need?" Kijun asked. 10 minutes, Minho said. "But the Velkari will know what I'm doing after about 5 minutes. They'll send guards." "Then we hold them off for 10 minutes, Kijun said simply. Outside the station, the space battle was going badly for the Velkari. The Alliance fleet had surrounded the Crucible and was systematically destroying the enemy ships. Commander Unji's Drakmari fighters danced through space, taking out Velkari weapon systems. Sujin's navigation skills helped the Alliance ships avoid the worst attacks, but the Velkari home fleet was huge. Even with surprise on their side, the Alliance was outnumbered. "We're taking heavy losses," Dao Min reported from the Freedom's dawn. "We can't hold them much longer." "How long until Kijun's team shuts down the defenses?" Yunwu asked. 6 more minutes, Jae-sung said. "Then we hold for 6 minutes, Yunwu declared. Inside the power core, Minho worked frantically, while Kijun and the boarding team fought off Velkari guards. The enemy soldiers were well armed and well trained, but they fought like machines, predictable and inflexible. The Alliance team fought like a family protecting each other. When Tai-ho was wounded, Bora covered him while treating his injuries. When their ammunition ran low, they improvised weapons from the laboratory equipment. 4 more minutes, Minho shouted over the sound of energy weapons. That's when Kijun heard something that changed everything. Through the station's communication system came a voice speaking in human language, but it was coming from the Velkari sections of the station. "Alliance forces, this is Dr. Hae-won in Laboratory 7. We're prisoners here, but we're fighting back. The other species are with us." Kijun realized what was happening. The prisoners weren't just waiting to be rescued, they were rescuing themselves. "All prisoners, this is Kijun," he broadcast through the station's speakers. "We're Alliance forces. We're here to get you out. Can you reach the docking bays?" "We're trying," came the reply. "But there are so many of us and the guards are fighting hard." "Then we come to you," Kijun decided. "Minho, how much longer?" 2 minutes, Minho called back. Kijun made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of waiting for the power to shut down, he opened his communication channel to every species on every ship in the battle. "This is Kijun to all Alliance forces," he said. "The prisoners inside this station are fighting for their freedom right now. They need our help. All ships, dock with the Crucible and send boarding parties. We end this now, together." What happened? Next had never been seen before in galactic warfare. Ships from 16 different species docked with the massive research station. Thousands of Alliance soldiers poured inside, fighting alongside the prisoners to take control of the Crucible. The Velkari guards found themselves facing not just trained soldiers, but angry prisoners who knew every corridor and hiding place. Humans worked with Sorok to disable security systems. Vithani used their crystal technology to heal wounded fighters. Nebula folk flowed through ventilation systems to attack from unexpected angles. Power systems shutting down. "Now," Minho announced. The Crucible's weapons and shields went dark. Outside, the Alliance fleet moved in to finish off the remaining Velkari ships. But the biggest surprise was still to come. In the station's command center, Kijun and his team found something incredible. A group of Velkari officers had locked themselves in, but they weren't fighting, they were arguing among themselves. "What are they saying?" Kijun asked Tai-ho, who understood their language. They're disagreeing about the experiments," Tai-ho said, surprise in his voice. "Some of them think what they've been doing is wrong." One of the Velkari officers stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice was different from the cold tones they were used to. There was emotion in it. "I am Research Director Velkoth," he said in broken galactic common. I want to surrender. Why? Kijun asked suspiciously. Because I have been studying you, Velkoth said. All of you. And I understand now what we lost when we made ourselves perfect. You have something we threw away. The ability to grow, to change, to become better. Dr. Bora studied the Velkari with her crystal senses. He's telling the truth. His brain patterns show real emotions. Fear, regret, hope. Some of us want to learn, Velkoth continued, to become more than we are. The experiments, they were wrong. We see that now. Over the following days, as the Alliance evacuated 2 million prisoners from the Crucible, the true scope of what had happened became clear. The Velkari Empire was splitting apart. Half wanted to continue the old ways. The other half, influenced by their contact with humans and other free species, wanted to change. The war wasn't over, but it had fundamentally changed. Now it wasn't just about freeing slaves, it was about freeing minds. 5 years later, Fleet, Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the observation deck of New Terra Station, humanity's new capital in space. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from dozens of species docked together. The Free Species Alliance had become the largest political entity in the galaxy. Kijun joined him at the observation window. Now he served as humanity's first galactic ambassador, representing not just humans but all the species working together for freedom. Hard to believe it's been 5 years since we found you in that escape pod, Hyunwoo said. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, Kijun replied. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime. They watched as a group of children played in the station's park. Human children, Sarok children, Bethani children, even some young reformed Velkari. They were all laughing together, speaking a mixture of languages, creating games that none of their species had ever played before. That's the real victory, Kijun said, pointing at the children. Not the battles we won, but the future we built. Dr. Bora floated over to join them. Her crystal body glowed with contentment. The latest reports are in from the colony worlds, she said. Integration is proceeding ahead of schedule. Humans continue to have that effect on other species, making them want to be better. What about the Velkari? Hyunwoo asked. The reformed ones are learning faster than we expected, Bora said. It turns out that once they allowed themselves to feel emotions again, they became very good at adapting. Almost human-like, you might say. Sujin flowed up to the group, her gaseous form shimmering with excitement. The memorial fleet is ready. For departure, she announced. 50 ships crewed by every species in the Alliance, dedicated to making sure no one ever faces slavery again. Commander Unji's voice came over the communication system. All ships report ready, Admiral. The galaxy is waiting. Kijun smiled as he thought about the speech he would give at the dedication ceremony. 5 years ago, he had been alone in space, thinking he was the last free human in the galaxy. Today, 3 billion humans were free, and they were part of something even greater. A galactic community built on the idea that every thinking being deserved respect and freedom. You know what the best part is? Kijun said to his friends. What? Hyunwoo asked. We didn't just save humans, Kijun said. We saved everyone, including the Velkari who wanted to be saved. We showed the whole galaxy that being different doesn't mean being enemies. It means being stronger together. As the memorial fleet launched from New Terra Station,